All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back from a long weekend of racing, but it was fun. Had a blast out at the Modern Street Hemi Shootout. So if you haven't been to one of those, highly recommend you going. I think at the next one I'll try and grab the organizer and do a quick interview with them. But today we're going to talk about the second part of racing I did this weekend, and that's index racing. So we're going to talk about that, obviously, right after this cold start. Folks, so you saw it in the thumbnail, heard it on the intro. We're going to talk about index racing and the ins and outs of index racing. I'm going to give you the POV view today, so you're not looking at me just talking. You can look at me driving and listen to old shake and bake as we run up and down the road. I got to run a few errands, so I'm doing this video at the same time. All right, so index racing. Index racing is totally different than bracket racing. So if you recall, in bracket racing, you come up with a dial-in time, which you think is which is a time that you think your car is going to run, be it, you know, a 12.3, a 12.2, 12. I'm sorry, they go to the hundreds. So like a 12.35, a 12.25, what have you. So if you remember, in my bracket racing, I dialed in at 12.38. So in index racing, they have different classes, which have different times associated with them. So for example, in the Modern Street Hemi Shootout, they had a 10.0 class, I believe a 10.5 class, an 11.5 class, and a 12.5 class. So if you remember, if you watched the last video, I ran the 12.5 index class. Now these are all heads-up races. So it's the first one, basically the first one to the finish line without going faster than 12.5. Okay? So 12.50, if you go faster than a 12.50, just like bracket racing, you break out, and if the guy goes slower than 12.5, you lose. Okay, so that's the thing about index racing. It's back to a heads up race, but you just can't go faster than your index. So you don't dial in a time; the time's already there for you. So if you look at some of the races in my last video, I ran a 12.55 as a qualification. Then I ran a 12.8 because I let off at the end because the other guy was so far behind me. He missed a gear, so I let off to make sure I didn't go faster than 12.5. And then my last race, I went all out. I did get a faster ET than him, but he got me on the tree. So he ran a 12.7, I ran a 12.6. He had a 0.1 something light, and I had a 0.3 something light. So literally, he still got me by roughly just over a tenth of a second. So that's the deal with index racing, is getting down the track as fast as you can without going faster than your index time. So I know this one's going to be probably a pretty short video. I'm just going to drive to do some errands right now, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the content. because I really ended up having a really good time. You know, the beginning was a little squishy. First thing in the morning. One big reason is because they had 2 events the same day. They had the Modern Street Hemi Shootout, and they also had Mopars at the Rock. So literally, not only were people that were doing the Modern Street Hemi Shootout confused, the people that were doing Mopars at the Rock were also confused. So it was really, really confusing at the beginning of the morning. Nobody really knew what was going on until everyone got there. All the people running the events got there. They got all that stuff straightened out, and from then on it was fairly smooth. But one thing, if you go to one of these events, you've got to pay attention to all the instructions that are being put out by the tower. The tower is going to tell you everything you need to know. If you're not in a position where you can hear the tower, I suggest getting into a position where you can hear the tower, because that's where all your instructions going to come from. And once people started realizing that the tower was telling them what to do, it got a lot smoother. Oh, excuse me. But really had a great time. We did all the bracket racing on Saturday. We took care of that. That was really fun. If you hadn't seen the bracket racing video, I'll put that up in the corner now, so you can take a look at it. It was a lot of fun. My first time doing it, in a real, no kidding, racing format. And then also, it was my first time doing a pro tree. So I'm still learning the pro tree thing. Hopefully I'll get to the track and maybe do some no time stuff to really dial in that no time, get my reaction time better from the pro tree. But the next thing was the 12.5 index class. We did a couple qualification rounds on Saturday, and those qualification rounds just determine where you're at in the pecking order. So the closer you qualify to your index time, the higher on the list you'll be. And normally, if there's an odd number, if you're the first qualifier, you'll get a bye because there's an odd number of racers. So there is an advantage to being the top qualifier. Also, normally the top qualifier goes against the bottom qualifier. So if you ran a 12.55 and the bottom qualifier ran like a 12.9, you got a pretty good shot, of beating that guy or girl. So had a great time. If you're not familiar with the Modern Street Hemi Shootout series, it is exactly what it says it is. It's Modern Hemis, Gen 3. So, sorry about that. Had to overpass, you know the deal. But it's for modern Hemi engines. You could have, there was a 1968 Plymouth, I got it right this time, Plymouth Satellite that had a modern 6.1 Hemi in it. And he was the one that took me out in the bracket class, by the way. He has a modern 6.1 Hemi in it. So that's why he was able to race in the Modern Street Hemi Shootout. He had a Gen 3 Hemi. So it's, Chargers, Challengers, Hellcats, Red Eyes, Demons, RTs, 5.7s, 6.4s, Scat Packs, 392s, you name it. All of the modern Gen 3 Hemis are able to race in this series. And like I said, so it is a series. So they do different races, pretty much from the middle of the country east. I think the farthest west they go is Texas, and they hold a number of them on the East Coast. So Rockingham is one of them. There's also one at Maryland International Raceway. There's also one at Cecil County Raceway. There's one at Atco Raceway in New Jersey. There's also one in Virginia. So there's a number of races on the East Coast in the, you know, the DMV area that are pretty close, relatively, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours away from where you're at. So if you're, you know, if you've never done it before, never raced before, they also have a rookie class to give you some instruction on, you know, on the race, how to do the lights, and all of that. So yeah, if you've never done it before, it was a great experience. I had a great time. Met a couple other folks from Maryland. If you watched the last video, we did have one of the guys, his truck broke down several times on the way back. You know, we did some fixes to it, finally got it fixed, finally got on the road, and got home safe and sound. So there's a lot of you know, camaraderie amongst all of you know, the Hemi folks. You know, and it's, you know, people had Hellcats, Red Eyes, Demons. I pretty much got to talk to everybody. Everybody was friendly, nice, you know, chit chat about cars, and the whole 9 yards. So it's a really, really great experience. So if you ever get a chance, definitely do one of the Modern Street Hemi Shootouts. I'm gonna see if I can get a run in behind this Camry, and then we'll call it quits. Maybe not. Alright folks, unless I run into anything heading back home, that's going to do it for this one. I really appreciate you taking some time to watch my videos. If you're stopping in for the first time, please go ahead and check out the other content on the channel. If you like what's going on, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, you know, hit that like button on some of the videos that you like, and hey, throw out a comment, you know, if you got comments. I try and read each and every one. I try and respond to each and every one. You know, it's been a great channel. So far, no big time trolls yet. So, you know, the conversation is casual and nice and clean. So let's keep that up. And for you subscribers that already subscribed, hey, I definitely appreciate it. We're up over 1,200 now. We continue to grow. Let's keep them numbers popping. And baby, until next time, adios.